All right, hello Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. We're back for our 6th year here with Beam. As you can see, I got my buddy Jimmy Messick in the studio. On the screen is Maurice down in Panama City Beach. Hey, Maurice.
What's up?
Hola.
Hola.
That's what they say down here. Hola.
Hey, buddy. Been missing you, Mo. I've been looking forward to this day just so we can get back to some Alabama football, get to see you on a weekly basis.
You can call me anytime you want, Sean. You don't have to wait for this time of year.
Noted.
Well, I appreciate it.
Is your phone just incoming or does it have outgoing as well?
I've raised the ticket. The dial out has got some problems.
I got it. So listen, let's just jump right in. We've all kind of been talking back and forth just about kind of the questions surrounding the program. I'm going to start with you, Maurice, and just say the elephant in the room. Who is going to start QB1 come September the 2nd?
I really, at this point, don't think it matters who it is because obviously nobody has stepped forward. I think it'll be Milroe just out of familiarity, which is the first time I've used that word on the show. But I don't think I'm just astonished that we are where we are. I don't think there's any difference from January 2nd, where we ended last year, to where we are now. But I think it'll be Milroe.
Do you think it has anything to do with Nick Saban kind of playing his cards and holding them close to the vest?
I don't. I think and it's kind of like what he said the other day, make me play you.
Right.
In other words, will somebody please step up? And it doesn't sound like anybody's, taking, that bull by the horns yet.
Jimmy, do you have a different opinion?
So we're just going to dive right into this.
Dive right in.
Head first into the elephant in the room. I mean, yeah, this whole summer I've really been on the Todd Simpson bandwagon, right? I've kind of bought into the hype. I'm not saying we're going to miss on him like we did Barnett a few years ago, another 5-star that didn't pan out. Jury's still out on that, but I'm really disappointed that he hasn't stepped up, because I really thought he would have, based on what I was reading. I'm not there personally, obviously, but just based on reports and things I've been hearing, I really thought he would have kind of stepped up and been the man. But to answer your question, yeah, Milroe will take the first snap of the first game, but if everything that I'm reading is true, he won't be the only one that takes a snap on the first game, but he'll take the first one.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Maurice. Do you believe that Saban's playing this at all with respect to not announcing a starting quarterback?
I mean, maybe to a degree, because that's Saban. He's never really been that guy. I know we're reading a lot that a lot of these other teams are announcing their starting quarterbacks. I truly believe if we had a starting quarterback, he probably would have announced it by now. But I'm not saying, I don't think he's doing it despite. I think he truly is waiting on somebody to step up.
Yeah.
Sean, let me ask you this, Sean. Why would he keep it? Why would he keep it close to the vest when there's really nothing to hide? It's not a big secret.
That's where I was going, especially opening with Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah.
I think that we could probably answer this question differently if we were opening with Texas.
Right.
But we're not. We're opening with Middle Tennessee State. So I don't really, in my opinion, I don't really care who you put back there. We're supposed to beat Middle Tennessee State.
I hope so.
We're supposed to. Now, whether we come out and play like that or not, it remains to be seen, but we're supposed to. So I don't believe that he is, holding this close to the vest. I truly believe that no one has just said, I am QB1. And, based on what I have read, based on what I have heard, Milroe could end up being the guy because of Tommy Rees and his style as an offensive coordinator. All the talk is about we're going to go back to ground and pound. No way we can't consider that with the running backs that we have. But then, there is no question that Jalen Milroe is the most athletic of the three.
Right.
He's the most athletic.
Well,
6'2".
Anthony Richardson at Florida was the most athletic last year. He got him a first round draft pick, and he's going to be starting for the Colts. But I don't think he was anything special to write home about as a quarterback. And I think Milroe, without a doubt, an exceptional athlete. But good Lord, when he started, was it against A&M? Your guess was as good as mine as where the ball was going to go.
True.
There was a lot of inconsistency, and
Yeah.
so
Year of
we'll see.
growth. Year of growth for him.
A couple of things I want to bring up too, to your point regarding the style. Yes, our running backs, man. I mean, Chase McClellan, Rodell Williams, Marion Miller. I mean, those guys have paid their dues, especially the first two I mentioned. When we got Gibbs last year to transfer, any of those guys could have left, but they stuck around, and now there's their time to shine, right? And I think they're out to prove something. So yes, I love our running back group. Not to mention the two top freshmen in the country coming in at that same position. Not to mention our offensive line is improved based on what I'm reading. And right now they absolutely love to run block, supposedly. Again, that's just reports coming out of Tuscaloosa. So you throw all that in there, new coordinator. And another thing that we need to talk about is the old rule change, the running clock.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Saban's not licking his chops about that rule change, because again, ground and pound, control the ball, play some defense, which I think we'll do this year, and win you football games like we used to, 12, 15 years ago.
Of
So
course,
you
it
weren't a
remains to
fan
be
of Pete
seen.
Golding?
Go ahead, Mo.
You weren't a fan of Pete Golden?
Not as much as of a fan as you were.
Listen, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. I think we're all satisfied. We'll talk a little bit about the coordinators. I think we're all satisfied with that. But I do believe, from hearing about Tommy Rees, from looking into a little bit of the Notre Dame games, from things like that, run the football, play action. We still don't have that proven receiver. I'm hearing a lot about Malik Benson, the JUCO train. I'm hearing a lot about him, but we still don't have the go-to receiver. So I just don't see us going out there and lighting it up from an air raid perspective. But we run the football effectively enough, then play action becomes very popular. It becomes, open receivers, tight ends, et cetera. So,
because all I'm reading out of the wide receiver group is all the drops we're having.
yeah.
Apparently, we can't catch the football.
Well,
another reason why we're going to run it more.
You know how many the leading returning receiver, two of them, top two. You know how many yards they had last year?
like
each?
300 or something,
Not
wasn't it?
many.
It-
Burton and Brooks,
Huh?
Burton and Brooks.
Yes, around 600 yards.
500 yards between the two of them.
Yeah, it's quite a difference from the year before with Mechie and
Yeah. Jameson
Yeah.
Williams.
yeah.
Well, again,
So-
we talked about it all year last year, and I former offensive guy, when they're not afraid of you running past them and throwing the deep ball, they pin their ears back a little bit, they bring safeties down a little bit, and they walk them down. And so we got, hopefully we'll see something different out of Tommy Rees. It's going to be really interesting, just to see how that all plays out. Who's going to be the quarterback? All those things that we've been talking about all season. So let's take a quick break. We still got some things to talk about with respect to coordinators, defense, a lot of excitement, but hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Beam wins it on a last-second kickoff return, and it's all thanks to the Big G. He's only about a foot tall, and he's not great at catching since he doesn't have any arms. But boy, when he does, he's end-to-end in a blink thanks to that 1 gig speed that makes him so special. You can tell his teammates just love playing with him. Maybe a little too much. Gig speed from Beam, made for football, available everywhere.
All right, so Maurice, you were saying, talking about Kevin Steele should be, a welcome sight. Continue, elaborate there.
I just think that his style of, if I remember correctly, I've never believed in that bend but don't break business crap, passive, whatever you want to call it. It's ridiculous. It's not the goal of the defense to allow the offense to hold the ball longer. It's the job of the defense to get the ball back and get that team's offense off the field. And I think Kevin Steele, from memory, is more aggressive than what Pete Golding was. And I want to say I'm just going from memory. I mean, all this could change in after week 2, but I think he's a little bit more sound as far as in defensive calls, meaning you don't leave a weak side exposed or an obvious glaring thing like moving Will Anderson, your best defensive player, out on a wide receiver, something that idiotic. I'm sorry, that's stupid. So
That already.
what? I'm trying to be politically correct. So because I mean, I dislike Pete Golding as a coach equally, stupidity and idiocy the same. So I think Kevin Steele, like I said, if memory serves, is a little bit more sound of a play caller and coordinator than what we've had for the past 4 or 5 years,
Jimmy,
in my opinion.
So obviously to this point, all we have are reports, practice reports, press conferences, player interviews, whatnot. And everything you see or read is how positive this move is or this hire is. Since the first day he stepped on campus, players fell in love with him. From whether it's because they were wanting to get back to that kind of old school style of play, maybe they knew his pedigree, where he came from, whatever it might be, he stepped foot on that campus and players fell in love with him. And again, everything you read is, man, he has brought a different kind of attitude. The defensive side of the ball is loving every minute of it. We're playing more loose, playing downhill. We're not playing, passively. I mean, so again, I'm really looking forward, really more so on that side of the ball than on the offensive side of the ball.
well, that may be just because of the uncertainty, but I don't disagree. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to say the same thing I believe we said last year, and it's going to be, we certainly have the talent on that side of the ball. Everything that you read, everything that especially in the defensive backfield. I mean, there's so much conversation about the kid that transferred in, the Key, last name's Key, Caleb Downs as a freshman. They say he's an absolute freak of nature. Of course, you have the All-American Kool-Aid McKinstry. You hear a lot about Terrion Arnold on the other side, but you got Malachi Moore as well. I mean, so it isn't going to be because of talent. So now we can, after some games, of course, we will be able to, kind of break that down and analyze that a little bit, because a lot of times we're on this show last year talking about what are we doing? We certainly have the talent. You got the best defensive player in college football last year, and so
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think that secondary you just mentioned will be the best we've ever had as a overall group.
as a group.
I mean, man, we are, like you said, we are loaded in the back end.
Agreed.
I mean, we're deep. I mean, there's multiple moving pieces. If this guy comes in and plays this spot, then this guy moves to that spot, and that guy can go there, and this guy can come up. I mean, dude, we are loaded in the back end of our defense.
Yeah, and that certainly helps the guys up front, and they both help each other. When they're applying pressure, they don't have to cover as long, but when you can lock somebody down, it gives more time to get pressure. You of course, you can't go wrong with Dallas Turner. I expect them to have a much bigger year. He's kind of playing out of the shadow of Will Anderson. He's going to be looked at as the guy like Will Anderson was, but listen, you got to give Braswell, some pub, because he's a senior, has paid his dues. You mentioned that earlier with some of the guys. I look forward to him having a big year. And so it isn't going to be because of talent. Right. So we can break that down in a couple of,
Well, I don't think we should say for the past 10 years, with the exception of 1 or 2 players, that it could be talent related. And I'll agree with Jimmy a little bit. I don't want him to get just a little bit. This is a very talented secondary for the 4, main positions, minus Starr and and whoever nickel is, or however Saban wants to do that. But the thing about last year that really disturbed me, that really irritated me, was the safety play. And I'm not talking about the players themselves. I'm talking about their technique and the coverage that they. I mean, that's what put us in tight situations, was the play of the safeties. And I don't want to get on who the safety coach is, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, in my opinion, is, if he's not the best, then he's one of 2 or 3 of the best in the country this year, without a doubt.
The Mushroom and Swiss Burger is back at Jack's. 2 all-beef patties, grilled mushrooms and onions, melted Swiss, and our savory gravy. Take a seat and invite the whole family. Even Uncle Terry, who isn't really your uncle. Get it before it's gone.
Experience is key when selecting a flooring company, and at Huckabee Brothers Floor Covering, we bring unrivaled expertise to the table. From excellent flooring installations to swift and efficient water damage restoration, we've got you covered. Our commitment to customer satisfaction is unwavering. We take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Don't compromise on quality or convenience. Call Huckabee Brothers Floor Covering today, the ultimate choice for exceptional flooring solutions and unmatched customer satisfaction.
Single. So,
All right. Welcome back, Tide fans. Oh, Maurice, you cracked me up.
thank you.
So just kind of in summary, we've talked a little bit about the offense, the uncertainty there. We all three believe we have the talent on defense, and we believe that Kevin Steele is the guy. History says that he's been there when we've had success. He is that hard-nosed physical football approach. So that'll be interesting to see how the players and his calling, kind of work together. So that again.
Here's the thing that a lot of people that may be watching this and thinking, well, Alabama finished top 10 scoring defense, and and so has Kevin Steele wherever he's gone. However, the main difference is the level of talent that we have had. It should be top 5 easily,
Right.
if not top 3. And you cannot win a national championship if you're hanging around number 15 as far as total defense. Not in this day and age. Just you got to be top 5. And I think Kevin Steele has the mentality. He's definitely got the talent. So I think this will be a lot better, personally.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Taylor. One other thing I was going to mention, we talked about the defense, and again, I think we are going to be much improved on that side. I'll be surprised if we're not. I think the only question mark on that side of the ball, if you want to call it a question mark, is the D line. I mean, we don't have that first round draft pick there.
Well, really depth, not
But you're right, but we are deep. We've got several guys that are going to be really good players. So if you want to question anything on that side of the ball, maybe you could question the D line. Like I said, they're still going to be good. We talked about the offense, but man, special teams, my buddy's coming back.
I was going there.
I mean, with the rule change, with that running clock, we're still trying to figure out who our quarterback's going to be. We talked about running the ball more. Man, how much is special teams going to play into this year? We got, to me, the best kicker coming back in the country. And again, what I've been reading is our punter it's like
Made some adjustments.
it's like night and day.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays into this season. At the end of
Well, we all know special teams. You always talk about the 3 facets of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, that's always a conversation. Coaches talk about it. When I used to coach, we talked about it all the time. You had to be, you had to be good in all facets of the game. We certainly do have 2 experienced guys returning. Everybody was kind of shocked when Riker decided he was going to come back. Burnip did a pretty good job last year. I mean, I think I looked and he averaged 45.2 yards a punt last year, but he's made some adjustments in the offseason, and I hear he is absolutely killing it because of this adjustment. Those play when you're able to flip the field and push the offense back as far as starting field position. It certainly makes a difference. It changes how you approach what you're going to do defensively. And so clearly those are factors that help you out. And then, of course, with the running clock, it makes a difference. And so all of those things combined, Maurice, we were kind of talking in the break. One of the concerns I have is just that we talk about the talent all the time and the number of players and, the running backs. We got 5 running backs that are, absolute studs. And more than likely, we're going to see a few of them on special teams because, they're if they're football players, they're going to want to get on the field, which increases their chances of getting in their position on the field. And I believe that we're going to see a Justin Haynes and a Young, the other running back, on the field in some capacity on special teams.
I remember seeing Mark Ingram and then Damian Harris block punts as freshmen. Yeah. They got on the field, and you got that kind of speed. You want to put it on the field, so, and speed kills. You put it on a punt block, and that makes all the difference in the world as opposed to some slow walk on.
Well, clearly we believe in special teams. I'm gonna listen. Everybody remembers Reuben Foster on kickoff.
Yeah.
You're starting middle linebacker, but he's on the kickoff team. Because he's head hunting.
Yeah, he made the difference in that LSU game down in Baton Rouge, and he wasn't even the starter then. He was just like you said, as somebody that got on the field, and dadgum if he didn't change that game in an instant with that hit.
Yeah. And so we're going to be able to see some of these younger kids, get an opportunity again, maybe not in their position, but we're going to be able to see them get on the field and see how they are as football players. You're talking about running backs running down on kickoffs because they have speed, they're strong, and making tackles and so special teams is extremely important in the complexity of the game, especially when you're playing good football games, because it can make or break you. We've seen that happen. Nobody wants to talk about it, but I was talking about it the other day with somebody. The kick six.
What was that?
Please tell me you're joking.
Sinful.
Yeah. Anyway,
I can't believe you mentioned that on this show, even though it's your show.
But it is very relevant with respect to special teams.
I'm not putting up. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Very, very relevant with respect to special teams. So talent is obvious. Still have to have the coaches. I believe in that particular play. That was a great coaching call by the other guy.
Are we still talking about that?
It's a great call. But you got to have it's conceptually the same thing we just said with respect to defense, with respect to offense. We have talent. We have talent on both sides of the ball, but you also have to have someone that's putting that talent in the correct position.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, but I don't feel the need to mention that garbage. But
it is what it is.
It's your show. So
can you say that again?
It's me and Jimmy are just here to have fun. So
that's right.
Anyway.
So guys, Middle Tennessee, supposed to be a win. That they got a good program. I've seen them play over the years. They're going to come out there, and they're coming to Alabama. They're going to come, ready to play. Certainly, it's a payout for them, but they're going to come expecting to win. They've probably been keeping up with a lot of the changes and things that have been going on. And, there's probably some uncertainty, or they believe that there is. So they're going to try to come expose us. Any thoughts on predictions, Maurice?
Yeah, believe it or not, I got some inside information about Middle Tennessee State.
Let's hear it.
The waiter at the bar that I go to down the street, he's a student there. He said they're terrible and we will annihilate them. I said, yes, we will. And so I'm thinking you'll see 3 quarterbacks play. You'll see every running back, or the 5 that you mentioned. It'll be one of those where let's see what we got heading into Texas type of game, to where we can figure out what we need to do. An adjustment game, so to speak.
An adjustment game.
Yeah. Well, I'm extremely excited again, get the season started. Man, so many new faces, of course, to coordinators.
Yeah.
we talk about the talent, but man, we have talent on both sides of the ball, but we don't have those household names. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys step up and again, making a name for themselves. I don't know anything about Middle Tennessee State right now, but I don't think it's going to be close. I mean, again, like Mo said, I think we're going to play a lot of players. I think all three quarterbacks will have snaps. I know at least two of them will, if not all three. So yeah, we just got to get ready for the next game. And as far as predictions go, yeah, I'm not going to predict 50-0, but it'll be, if we shut them out, I wouldn't be surprised. And like I said, we're gonna put the points on the board we need to, and handle business. So.
Maurice, do you think it'll be a shutout?
No,
No.
I think there'll be some miscues on defense, and whether it be late in the game that somebody gets in and makes a mistake, we'll see. But I think they'll get 3 or 6 up somewhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
then it won't be.
I do believe we win easily. I do believe the clock will play a factor in the number of points that are scored. I think that will. I'll be interested to see the type of impact.
Oh, it's going to make an impact.
Yeah, the type of impact, especially if we are taking the offensive approach that we're going to ground and pound. That'll eat up clock. But I would like to see us open it up a little bit. I don't know that we will, because we play Texas the next week, and that's going to be huge. But I don't believe we'll open it up a lot. I believe you'll see some basic stuff. I believe we will run the football. I believe defensively we're going to be very good. I don't know that they will score, even with the miscues. I mean, you watched last year. Our first group played a lot, regardless of the situation, whether we were up. So I don't believe they will score 38-0 Alabama, and then prepare for Texas. I'd be interested to hear if there's any talk about the second game, because as disciplined as Saban tries to be with his team, man, that some of those guys are already anticipating Texas coming to Tuscaloosa the following week.
Sean, as much fun as it's been the last few years with the quarterbacks and the running backs and the receivers we've had, all the explosive plays and us scoring 40, 50 points a game. It's been a lot of fun, right? It's been a lot of fun to watch. But man, I would actually really, really like to see us, and I would think I would enjoy us more getting back to we're scoring 30 points a game, and the defense is holding guys, teams under 10, and us winning games 30-10 versus winning game 45-28 or 45 to 30.
Agreed.
To me, that's going to be more fun than what we've had in the last 5 or 6 years as far as the offense. So, especially when we get to that final reward at the end of the season.
Maurice, do you believe we're a playoff team?
Well, based on the other teams in the country, we are one of the top 4 teams, I think. But I think this season will be, without a doubt, Saban's most challenging.
Is that because of new coordinators, new faces, and schedule?
Yes, all of the above. I mean, this is why. I mean, you don't have the stud on offense or deep. I mean, the standout. But we had the best players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you combine that with new coordinators, and you combine that with uncertainty at quarterback and inconsistent wide receivers. It's going to be a tough go for Saban. It's going to be a weekend. It's not going to be a dominant 2020 season by any means.
Do you believe, like everyone says, when you believe that Saban's down and out, when you believe that, okay, we're kind of done, do you believe that's the year that we turn it on and do what Alabama's known to do?
Well, history shows that that's the case. However, and I'm not promoting gambling by any means, but the previous game of the previous season has nothing to do with the current situation.
Correct.
So I don't believe just because that's the way it has been that it will be. If we had a quarterback that we had Continent, maybe Milroe has turned the corner. or who knows, we could have a dark horse that we just don't know about. I doubt it because, I mean, Saban only talks about the 3. But if one of those can really turn the quarter and step up, maybe. But right now, it's like it's going to be a headache for him week in and week out to try to muster these. It's going to be physical, and it's going to be one of those. And it's like I said, it's not going to be a dominant fashion. It's going to have to be a Herculean effort by the coaching staff and the players.
Yeah. Well, regardless, it's going to be an interesting season. We kick off Saturday, September the 2nd against Middle Tennessee State. Our show will air at 6:30 p.m. on 207 on Thursday, August the 31st. We will begin airing our show at 6:30 p.m. fans instead of last year. I believe we were at 8 or 9 p.m. So look for us. We will be back after the ball game on the 2nd. So we will come back to you and kind of do post-game breakdown and then get ready for the Texas game. So Maurice, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you again after the ball game. I'm sure we'll be talking throughout that. And roll tide.
Roll Tide.